What is going on, Pokemon fans? Ashenmore here. This week, we're in round 1 of playoffs in the UBL D-League, and of course we're going up against the number 1 seed, Vepsis, completely undefeated for the entire season. Now, since our previous battle, which was pretty back and forth in week 2, definitely winnable on our part, although I did a few misplays that cost me the game eventually, Vepsis has made 3 trades since then, and he has acquired Greninja, Mega Gallade, and Granbull. And honestly, when I was starting to put this team together, I was looking at his new roster, and the first thought that came into my head was, I am not sure if there is a strategy that I can run that is actually going to win this for me. There is no win condition or even pair of win conditions that I can actually run that's going to be able to deal with all of his offense and his defense. And it's very, very, very difficult to take out Alolan Muck and Bronzong, and even Rotom Heat to a lesser extent. My team just does not really have the tools to do that very well. So this time around, I'm still going to be running Tapu Fini as sort of a win condition. Except this time, instead of running Choice Scarf, I'm going to be running Adrenaline Orb. He has 2 Intimidators, one I know he's going to bring for sure, which is the Lando T, and also Granbull does fairly well against my Kyurem and my Salamence, so I think he could bring that with him as well. If I can put Finny in against something that wants to switch out against it, go for Calm Mind, blow something back, he comes in to revenge kill me with Lando, we activate Adrenaline Orb, and instead of being locked into one move, which he can switch into, now suddenly we can actually switch between moves and blow back the rest of his team. Just Surf and Moonblast is going to hit everything at least neutrally, but in order to deal with the Whimsicott, which I'm absolutely sure he's going to bring again, we're going to be running Hidden Power Poison, and this will kill any variant of Whimsicott after a Calm Mind boost. The main issue that we're going to run into with Finny is an Assault Vest or a specially defensive Berry Muck, and of course any sort of Scarfer that is faster than the Finny that can do residual damage to it. So for instance, Scarf U-Turn Landorus T is going to be able to do chip damage while switching into the Muck, and of course if he has a physically invested Kyurem with Scarf, he's going to be able to hit me with Fusion Bolt, and he will come very, very close to being able to kill me, but I can actually take one whole hit from this thing. Now, in order to deal with potential Scarfers and the Muck, I'm going to, for the very first time this entire season, run Hax Jirachi. And Hax Jirachi basically is Body Slam and Iron Head, so put him out, Body Slam, you paralyze something, and then you flinch it to death, or you just switch out into something else and force the thing out. So, really, the goal with this particular kind of Jirachi set is to potentially hit Stealth Rocks, U-turn away from the Muck coming in, and then Body Slam and paralyze at least one thing, but preferably 2 things, the Muck and then one potential Scarfer or offensive threat that could be faster than the Finny. That's all this particular Jirachi build needs to be able to do. Now, to help with the Muck a little bit more, and to help with all of his physically offensive threats, because I think he's going to bring a lot of physical offense here, I'm going to be running Mismagius. Because Finny is more of a win condition in this battle, I'm not going to be relying on Misty Terrain to cover the rest of my team, which means I can freely go for statuses myself. If I run a max physically defensively invested Mismagius, I will be able to take any hit from any of his physically offensive threats and burn them in return. He can also do decent amounts of damage with Shadow Ball against a lot of his things, even with no investment, but the real bread and butter of this set is Curse and Ghostium Z. I am under the assumption that his main switch into Mismagius is the Alolan Muck. If I catch him with a Curse on the switch in, that's 25% HP that he's going to be down. Then I can either stay in a Will-O-Wisp and hit whatever he's switching into. If I think he's going to switch into the Rotom, I can go for a Shadow Ball. If I get low enough, I can just go for a Memento. That will grant me momentum and potentially a better setup turn for my Tapu Fini. Ghostium Z can either be used to boost the Shadow Ball or to use Curse a second time and regain HP to get more chip damage on the Muck or whatever else happens to switch in against me. Now, because of the very real threat of Hazard Stack on his side, I'm definitely going to have to be bringing a Defogger. Because Finny cannot fill that role, I'm going to be bringing Crobat to do that for me. With U-Turn and Brave Bird, he's going to be able to do some decent damage to everything, including checking the Mega Gallade and the Landorus T. And he should, depending on what variant of Muck he ends up bringing, be able to tank that thing out as well. Now, for the last 2 slots, I debated quite a bit about what I actually wanted to bring, although I did feel like Zerior was kind of a no-brainer. With HP Ice, I should be able to kill any Scarf variant of Lando as long as it's not sufficiently invested in HP. Discharge can net me some more paralysis, crippling his offensive threats, and also deal with Greninja. And Hidden Power Grass is mostly there in case he brings Seismitoad, which I could definitely see actually happening. I'm also using Taunt on him, and that's mainly to stop the Bronzong and the Cofagrigus from stacking hazards, as well as getting a little bit of momentum, forcing them out, and potentially stopping Muck from being able to recycle Curse on me as well. In the very last slot, I'm going to be bringing a very strange variant of Salamence. It's going to be a max specially attack invested Salamence with just enough speed to outspeed Kyurem Black. The idea here is that this variant of Salamence can deal with Bronzong, Muck, and Rotom Heat all at the same time, using a combination of Hydro Pump, Fire Blast, and Earthquake. Now Earthquake, even though it's uninvested and we're also going to be running a timid nature, so a minus attack nature, is going to do slightly more than 50% damage to a maximally specially defensive invested Alolan Muck, which is exactly what I expect him to be bringing. If I can connect a Hydro Pump or a Fire Blast onto the Rotom or the Bronzong, he's going to see, hey, the Salamence is specially invested, and it's probably minus attack nature. So he'll put the Muck in, I'll be able to Earthquake it, and I'll be at +1, meaning if he's going to go for Recycle Recovery, he is going to slowly hemorrhage HP to me. In the last slot, I debated a little bit between Roost or something else, and I ended up going with Draco Meteor. And I'm going to be running Yachi Berry on this thing. With Draco Meteor, we can OHKO Greninja, and we can also, with the Yachi Berry, take an Ice Beam from Kyurem Black at around about 80% HP, and be able to OHKO that as well with Draco Meteor. So this Mence is going to have to be able to get some value in this game and probably take out one, if not two different things. Overall, I don't feel particularly good against this matchup. I almost think that any combination of 6 Mons he could possibly bring is going to be almost too difficult for me to deal with. But overall, I think that if I can get Muck or Bronzong a little bit low, I can get a little bit of hacks going on with Jirachi and Zeriora, and I can get a little bit of value out of the Mence and the Mismagius, I might have a chance to be able to take him out if I play my cards really, really well. So we'll go ahead, get into the battle, and see how it goes. Unfortunately, I ended up disconnecting in the middle of this battle, so we had to recreate the beginning of it. Now, because of this, you're not going to see Salamence, but everything else is more or less going to play out roughly the same way. So I ended up leading Zeriora, thinking he would probably lead Lando T. This play is going to tell me whether or not he's Choice Scarfed, and that's going to kind of dictate how I'm going to play the rest of this game. Of course, he's brought the entire offensive core that I thought he would, and unfortunately he's got Rotom Heat, which I think is probably going to have his Rocky Helmet. Anyway, his U-turn does go faster than Zeriora, which means he is indeed Scarf, and this takes a big chunk out of my Zeriora. Now, he went into Rotom Heat in the original game. I went for Hidden Power Ice, expecting that if he wasn't Scarf, he'd go for the Earthquake. My Shuca Berry would save me, and then I would win that matchup. Now, I thought he would probably stay in here with the Rotom, so I went for a Discharge. He went for an Overheat, and he missed. I was fine getting the little bit of extra chip onto the Rotom Heat. Overheat would have killed Zeriora had it connected, but I didn't need Zeriora anymore in this particular matchup because of what he actually brought. Now, I ended up switching the following turn into Salamence, taking 20% from his Overheat, and then I attempted to go for a Hydro Pump to blow him back, and unfortunately the Hydro Pump actually missed, which really would have opened this game up for Jirachi to start doing its job. But instead, he got extra chip damage with Volt Switch, went into Muck. I went for Earthquake on the Muck, found his Berry. He wasn't actually Assault Vest. He went for Poison Jab, got a Poison on my Salamence, and at that point, Salamence was pretty much useless because it was poisoned, and it was basically one tick away from dying. So I ended up conserving it for a sacrifice later on, and I let it go down, I think either against the Muck again or against the Lando. I can't really remember which. But suffice to say, you won't see Salamence in here for that reason. Now, I ended up going for a Curse when he switched into Whimsicott, so we're basically back into the way the battle should be at this point in time. Now, I thought he would go into the Muck here, but he went into the Whimsicott for whatever reason. Now, at this point, I'm expecting he's probably going to switch out into something else, probably not the Muck, so I'll go ahead and I go for Ghost DMZ with the Shadow Ball. I don't really see why not, but he stays in with the Whimsicott, so this is also bad. I really needed to connect this to anything except for the Whimsicott, because the Whimsicott is the least of my worries right now. Both of my win conditions, Jirachi and Finny don't really care about this thing at all. So this is really kind of wasted play because the Mismagius could have and should have been connecting this damage onto something else, such as the Rotom Heat or one of his offensive threats. But alas, that is the way that I ended up playing it, and it's not going to work out very well for me because of it. So the Whimsicott does go down. He goes into Lando. I know what's coming out here. It's going to be a U-turn. So why not just go ahead, go into the Crobat, right? There's really no reason not to. This is going to easily absorb that U-turn. It'll basically do no damage, and I'm going to get a little bit of momentum here, but not probably as much as I would like. So he is going to go for that U-turn. I'm going to take it like an absolute champ, which is probably what I should have done on my turn 1 play. And to be fair, I probably should have also had some move on Crobat that could actually hit the Rotom Heat, because at this point all I can do is U-turn out against it and get a little bit more chip damage off. That is all I can really do. So because the Mismagius is low, I actually go ahead and go into it and sacrifice the Mismagius off right here, which is not really the smartest play. I still could have gotten a little bit of value out of the Mismagius, even if it was just the Memento or another Curse. That would have been fine. Even another Shadow Ball on the Rotom would have been fine. But this is what I opted to go for because I didn't want anything else that I had to take any damage. So he is going to go back out into Lando T. At this point, I truly debated on putting Finny out there, but Jirachi can survive an Earthquake, so why not? Here, I'm going to go ahead and go for Body Slam, and this is where that earlier Hydro Pump completely screws the rest of my plan up. I'm going to go for it, and we've already seen the Rocky Helmet on Rotom Heat, and we're going to get absolutely nowhere. If the Rotom Heat was dead at this point, very, very likely we would have seen a paralyzed Lando T, and then we would be in this game right now. But that is not what happens. So, unfortunately, he's going to go for Overheat. I don't have anything to put in front of this besides maybe the Finny. So I go ahead and go for the Zeriora. Of course, Zeriora is going to die. I already mentioned earlier, Overheat would kill him. Then I'm going to Crobat because I don't have any other way to get through this. I know he's going to go for a Volt Switch here and turn out. I hope anyway. So I'm going to go for just a little bit more chip damage. Maybe I can get rid of this. But at this point, the damage is kind of done. I don't have any way to break the Rotom Heat and the Muck at this point. Because of that Hydro Pump miss earlier on, the Jirachi cannot get any paralysis value, so I can't meet that criteria. And I also didn't get enough value out of the Mismagius, so even if I can get to +1 on Finny, even if I can get the Adrenaline Orb active, even if he's not Scarf, Pure and Black, which I definitely think he is at this point in the battle if I didn't before, there's just no way. It's not going to work. So I go ahead, go into Finny, and now I'm expecting the Rotom Heat to probably switch out. He does show the Sleep Talk, so he is Sleep Talk, Rest, Volt Switch, Overheat, which, I mean, it makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and double, go into the Jirachi, expecting him to go into the Muck. Then I'm going to expect that he's going to stay in on the Jirachi, and I'm going to just go ahead for Iron Head. I thought maybe he might switch back out into the Rotom Heat, but even if he did, I'm going to be able to get Stealth Rocks up here at least, and that might help me out a little bit by getting some chip damage that I might need, but overall, kind of a futile effort. Anyway, he is going to predict that Iron Head. He's going to switch into the Rotom Heat. Actually, he probably was predicting Body Slam more than anything else. But again, because that Rotom Heat is in the way, we can't do anything with this. So I'm going to go ahead, just go for the Stealth Rock because he's got another turn Sleep Talk. Yes, there's a 1 in 3 chance he can hit Overheat, and the game will be basically over at this point. And he is going to use Sleep Talk, and unfortunately, he is going to hit that Overheat. Now, while Jirachi is going to survive on just the barest amount of HP with Leftovers recovery, unfortunately, a Scarf Fusion Bolt now almost completely wipes my team out. With the exception, the Finny can survive 1 hit. So I'm actually going to switch out. I'm going to conserve the Jirachi because I can potentially gain HP back against the Muck later if he decides to sacrifice this Rotom. But he goes ahead, goes for the Volt Switch against Crobat. Obviously, Crobat's going to take a huge amount of damage. And he's actually going to go into the Serum Black right here, going for, I am assuming, maximally Fizz attack invested Fusion Bolt. Now, obviously, yeah, that's going to kill Crobat. If he wasn't Scarf Lando, we would still have maybe a chance at this point, which is just crazy if you think about it. So, yep, he's going to show Fusion Bolt, and as I've calced it, it's probably going to be enough. I mean, it would have killed anyway, even if Crobat wasn't this low. But that's going to be a dead Crobat, and we do confirm that he is Scarf since he went first. So, I've got to go for Finny here. Moonblast will definitely kill him, so that at least will be a 4-0 loss against Vepsis here. It may be better, who knows? He goes for the Fusion Bolt, and of course he's Scarf, so he cannot possibly kill the Finny, but he will come very, very, very close. We will hit him with Moonblast, and we will take him out. Now I'm just praying here that he goes into Lando so I can at least show off the Adrenaline Orb tech, and he actually does exactly that. But of course, as we know, he's Scarf. He's going to be slightly faster than a Scarf Finny would be. At least if I was him, that's the way I would have spec'd it out. And unfortunately, Finny is going to get taken out right here, and we are going to drop this game because Jirachi as well cannot survive Earthquake. That means we are going to lose this game 4-0 to Vepsis, and I say GG to him. He has earned his final spot this season for sure. I think that of all the players in this league, his team is one level above everyone else's, and I think his play is one level above everyone else's. And so I would be absolutely shocked and amazed if he did not win this whole thing. Unfortunately, out of all 10 games I've played this season, this is the only one I legitimately think I lost in team building. I simply did not have the answers for his two Scarfers, and I did not have a good enough answer for Rotom Heat. An 80% accuracy move is not good enough. I had other options I considered bringing. I thought they were all bad options for different reasons. And at the end of the day, I think the disparity between what his team was capable of and what my team was capable of were too different for me to be able to overcome at my skill level. Not to say that I have not enjoyed playing this team, but I do think I should have made some trades earlier on in the season to kind of pad out some of the weaknesses that I had started to notice, especially for Retris. I haven't used that Mon very much, and I wasn't really able to get any good value out of it. I feel like if I had a little bit more of experience with it, I could have gotten some more. You know, stuff like Scrafty didn't really come through the way I had originally envisioned it, but they certainly could have worked. But with the overlap in two different dragon types and two different steel types, we were missing a grass type, we were missing a rock type, we were missing a fire type, and if we had had stuff like that in this team, I would have had better offensive and defensive options kind of throughout the entire thing, and especially in this particular match where it would have immensely helped out. All of these are definitely things that I have been considering in my team building ever since I put this particular team together, and I think I've improved at that aspect of the game considerably as well. So one last thing I want to talk about. At the outset of this league, I had three main goals. The first one was to create better, more professional looking, interesting video content for you guys out there. The second one was to get my name out there a little bit more as an effective competitive battler. And the third one was to go up against some difficult opponents that were at or above my skill level so that I could improve at the game, note what my weaknesses were, and start being able to work on them and improve and get better. Despite how the season just ended, I think I've succeeded at least to some degree on all of those points, so I'm fairly happy with the way things have turned out. As far as what's next for my channel, I may do some content for some of the showdown leagues that I'm currently in. I'm not 100% sure. Probably I'm going to take a little bit of a break and I'll just do playoffs if I make playoffs in any of those leagues. You may see more Wi-Fi content in the somewhat near future. Really just depends on how things pan out. Regardless, best of luck to Vepsis and Skyrander in the UBL D-League Finals. A special thanks to Automatic and Irish Emerald for inviting me into this league and letting me play these games. Special thanks to Blazing Squid, Merrilt, and Skyrander for getting me the game footage to actually make these videos in the first place. And of course, thank you if you're still watching this video. If you do like this content, remember to leave a like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what I could do better. Tell me what you would like to see. Anyways, I'll catch you next time. And as always, thanks for watching.